Tom, are you okay?
I lost her.
Her?
She was going to be this epic, trilogy-worthy character. I was going to be the hottest writer in Hollywood. But I can't get past Act 1!
You need some writers group therapy. Hello and welcome to Writers Group Therapy.
I'm Tom.
And I'm Roshni. We're writers helping writers. Are you ready for your session? The doctors are in. And if you like this episode, make sure you subscribe and share it with your friends. You can find us online at writersgrouptherapy.com, also on Twitter and Instagram at WGTherapy, individually.
Tom_Loveman on Twitter and Tom Loveman on Instagram.
And on Twitter, I'm at Roshni Lamino, and I have changed my handle on Instagram. It's also at Roshni Lamino. So if you're listening to a past episode, even if you go to the old one, you'll still find me at Roshni Lamino. It'll redirect you.
Yay.
Woohoo!
Get your identity all squared away, huh?
Right?
Good deal. So it's been a little crazy lately.
Understatement.
Yeah. So we thought this week we'd do something a little more fun, a little more lighthearted. I saw this listicle on Buzzfeed a couple months ago, 37 things Americans do in movies and TV shows that truly confuse non-Americans. So I thought it'd be funny if we went down this list and see what people are complaining about and see how what movies we think they might be referencing, or what movie, how we write, if we write those things in our scripts too, to see if we're being too American in our scripts.
Now, as a caveat, looking through this list, it doesn't say what part of the world the people tweeting these thoughts are from. So just FYI.
Yeah. You can make some guesses, I suppose, but yeah, it's hard to say. But we're not going to name names, though, are we? We're not going to.
Probably not. Let's see how American we really are in our scripts.
Yeah. So let's see. Number one is, do Americans really grow up with a specific university in mind and call their dream school? Or is that just a movie trope because it's just so bizarre to me?
What do you think?
Yeah, it's true. I think it's totally true.
It's true. I know for me, my dream school was Cornell. What was yours?
Well, I didn't have a dream school, actually. But when I went to school, I went to Indiana University. And the people in Indiana are diehard. If you go to Indiana University, you're a Hoosier, you're diehard Hoosier. And like your kids grow up, they're going to be Hoosiers. They have baby clothes with the university stuff. It's insane. So that's absolutely true. It really is very true, especially with the big state universities.
I'm thinking about it, and I think, like, in some places, I believe, like, in Germany, maybe, they have paid for education. Canada, too, right? Where it's just, it's paid for, and you can just go. So maybe that's why they don't have the whole dream school, because...
They're like, I'm going to the school right here, because they're paying for it.
Yeah, everything's kind of the same. I'm not saying the education is necessarily the same, but, like, if because here it's like community college versus state college versus like private. So we have like levels of like what college means to us, I guess. So maybe that's why we have that trope.
I'm trying to think if I've ever seen a foreign film that's set in a college setting. It's not something I think I've seen. I watch a decent amount of, foreign films. So it's hard to, and Korean dramas and what have you. But I don't recall seeing a lot of that stuff.
Huh. Interesting.
Brings up the idea. I don't want to get too off base, but as writers, when we write from an American cultural perspective, and we just and we assume because we're writing for an English audience and an American audience that everything we write is going to be obvious to everybody else in the world because it's what everyone else watches. But these days, there's so much more content being created overseas.
That's making
content,
inroads into American culture as well.
Yeah, so we're seeing different cultures here as well, and so that that makes us go like, "Wow, that's interesting."
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Number 2, do Americans complain about fluorescent lights in real life as much as they do on TV? I don't know. I never noticed that.
This one unless you mean like flickering fluorescent lights in a horror film. But no one talks about it. You just see it flickering. But I don't really think so. Unless they're talking like, ooh, the lighting's bad for my selfie, maybe?
Maybe. I don't know. That one seems a little vague, so.
I want to know what show they were watching for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Number 3. Do Americans really just go to bars and drink like can't speak. Do Americans really just go to bars and drink like 6 shots of whiskey and call it a night? That's how Americans drink on TV, and it's weird AF.
Ah, yes.
We're lightweights.
I don't go out to drink, so these days no one goes out to drink. Actually, I don't think so. I think that's character driven. hard drinking character kind of stuff, like
Mm-hmm.
the detective or the cop or whatever, the mobster or the criminal, the hard drinking guys. I think that's just a character thing.
Well, I guess what I'm wondering is, do they mean like 6 shots of whiskey is really low or really high?
Or, well, that's the idea. The guy walks into the bar, orders a shot, or orders a bunch of shots, and then I'm going home. And that's his dinner or whatever. That kind of thing.
Oh, I guess I've never seen that trope.
Yeah.
Like where it was like a detective thing?
Yeah, it's kind of a cop detective kind of thing. Like, my partner got shot today. I'm gonna go drink myself, or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Drink myself silly or whatever. But I think socially in America, I think drinking is more of a social thing. People go out, they drink with friends. Nobody's sitting at the bar drinking. I mean, there are probably people that do, but it's not as prevalent as it appears in the movies. So I think that's a stereotype of, like I said, specific types of characters, archetypes that you see in the films.
Well, and we'll touch on this later because um I did see a tweet later on that actually speaks to some of the American isms that we have. But I do know when we write our films and our TV shows, everything everything is rushed. Like we don't ease into things, you're just kind of dropped into the middle of things. That's kind of how we're taught to write. So if they're saying like 6 shots is really like wow, and then you go home, it's because it serves the story and it gets you in and out really fast. You don't want to see a whole thing where they're sitting around for 2 hours just drinking in the bar, because then you're like, okay, move the story along. So that
Right.
could also play into it, maybe.
Yeah. The old come late, leave early. You don't
Hmm.
get all the pleasantries and like a guy playing pool and
Yeah.
chatting with his friends or whatever. You just see the part that's character focused and
And then you
story
move on.
focused.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
All
Okay.
right.
How about number 4? Wait, do Americans actually get fed lunches in schools? I thought that was just a movie thing.
It depends on the school, actually, and it depends on your area.
That's true.
I mean, I wonder again, fed lunch, we had to buy our lunch, at the schools I
Yeah.
went to.
Oh yeah. We had to buy ours too.
Yeah.
There are some schools these days, because there's so many kids in some poor school districts, they get subsidized free lunches, that they just started giving all the kids free lunches. So it wasn't like someone was being singled out kind of thing. But in general, American schools do have cafeterias and they do eat lunch together like they show on movies and TV shows. There are some schools where it's like they call it open campus, where the kids go out to eat or can eat outside in the yard and stuff. That's not as I didn't grow up like that. So because
No,
I
they
grew up,
really
we
didn't.
both grew up in the Midwest, where in the winter you can't even go outside. So
Yeah. Well, they didn't have that because it was like if you left, they had no guarantee you'd come back.
yeah, there's a control kind of thing there. But
Yeah.
yes, we do eat. So all those, like the bully picking on the kid in the cafeteria, all that stuff is very, the cliques at the tables, all very true actually.
Mhm.
A little bit exaggerated, I think, in some of the movies and stuff, but it's all very based on reality there.
Yeah. They probably, and I'm like I said, they might also mean like, wow, you're getting free lunch, which again is dependent on the area you're in. Yeah.
The cafeteria is kind of the Wild West. It's where stuff happens in school. So
It's the place to be. It's where the social stuff goes down
yeah.
for sure.
Hmm.
All right. Do Americans eat s'mores as much as movies say they do? I don't know, actually. I feel like unless you're watching a camping movie, maybe? I
Yeah.
don't know.
Well, whenever anybody goes camping in a movie, American movie, they do usually have they're usually toasting marshmallows and making s'mores. It's kind of like it's iconic camping, tradition, I think.
Yeah. I will say, I have to ask my husband about this. I don't think he ever had a s'more until he came here. I don't think he knew what it was till he moved to
Yeah.
the US. So that could definitely be a trope. I guess I just don't notice it. Maybe I'm not watching enough camping movies.
Yeah, they're not really just Girl Scout cookies. So they're oh, that's a Samoa, but the same idea. But yeah, it's unusual for other people because it's kind of that's an American thing, which is kind of cool.
They're so good. If
Hmm.
you haven't had a
Yeah.
s'more, try one. Make one.
If you don't know what they are, it's graham crackers. Make a sandwich with graham crackers, toasted marshmallow over a fire, and that melts the chocolate. So you kind of create a sandwich of marshmallow, chocolate, and graham.
Oh my gosh, you're making me wanna go get a s'more. All right, let's pause right now. I'm gonna go get a s'more.
There's no art to making a good s'more too. It's a very it's a tricky thing. You
Oh,
got to get the marshmallow just toasted just right.
so good.
All right, number 6. Do Americans actually have school mascots, or is that just a movie thing?
It is true. That one is so true.
Yeah, actually, I know it's true. Although my high school didn't. We didn't have one.
Really?
Well, our high school whatever mascot, whatever it would be, we were the Solon Comets. Flying through the sky, blazing through the sky, kind of thing.
Okay.
So we didn't have a mascot. We joked that whatever cheerleader was like the alternate who just barely made the squad had to be the mascot, and they would put her in a giant tennis ball and light her on fire, and she would run around.
Oh my gosh.
So that was just a joke, though. But yeah, the Solon
okay,
Comets.
wait. Here's a question. Was this high school or middle school?
That was high school.
Okay, how big was your high school?
Close to 1,000 students.
That's actually kind of small
Yeah.
in high school American world.
4 grades, about 250 each.
Yeah, that's actually pretty small. Because I was going to say, depending on your division, the bigger schools would definitely have a mascot because you're playing in the bigger divisions.
Yes.
I think my high school was, I'm trying to remember, I think we were like 4,000 to 5,000, and it was going to get bigger 6 years after I left. Because there was like supposed to be a big rush of kids. Everybody had kids all at the same time.
Yeah.
So when I was a senior in high school, all the 6th grade class was supposed to like balloon the population of the school. But I think 4,000 is already pretty big.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's a lot. I grew up in a suburb, so.
So did I.
But this just says school mascots. It doesn't say high school mascots. So colleges have mascots, definitely.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
But even most high schools do have mascots, even some middle schools.
Yeah, they all have, some sort of, the Fighting Tigers or whatever it is, so they always have something.
Yeah.
Always reminds me of Teen Wolf. Remember I don't remember what the mascot was in that, but were they the wolves or not?
Actually, I've never seen it.
I'm thinking about the Michael J. Fox one from way back when, the movie.
I've never seen it.
Yeah, it's been a long time, but.
Oh my gosh.
Do you remember the mascot on Smallville? This is a trivia question.
No.
Yeah, they were the crows, the Smallville crows.
Oh my gosh. Some animals make for a better mascot than others.
Yeah.
I will say that.
All right.
Number 7. Why in shows and films do Americans always go to the fridge and get a bottle of water and dramatically drink it in an argument?
That is so weird. That is so very specific, isn't it?
I want to see what show or film they're talking about. I've never seen this one.
I have no idea. I didn't even think to look and see if anyone gave examples in the comments on these tweets. That is so weird, isn't it? I can't remember having seen anyone do that. I mean, yeah, people go to the fridge and they stand there and they look in the fridge and they might drink something standing at the door. I don't think it's dramatic necessarily, but the drinking dramatically and in a fight. That's weird.
I guess when you gotta wet your whistle and keep arguing.
I don't know.
Right?
I feel like that one. Yeah, I really have to go and see
that
what
one. I think is
movie
very specific. Yeah,
that's very specific. They must have just watched something weird, and I don't think that one's a particularly strong one there. All right, number 8. Do Americans really chug milk out of the carton, or is that just a TV show thing? I don't know.
I think it depends on how you were raised.
I don't. I did drink orange juice out of a carton recently because I was moving and I didn't have any glasses and there was only a little bit left, so I had to get rid of it before I was moving. So that was very specific. That's like the first time I'd done that, and I can't remember how long.
I seriously think it depends on how you were raised, and I will admit I will eat ice cream right out of the carton.
Oh, okay.
Totally.
Yeah,
so,
done that.
I'm sure people will, like you were saying, the orange juice or whatever, milk or something.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We are kind of lazy. Like if it's late at night and you're just hungry and you don't really feel like getting a dish out. Yeah, Americans do that to some degree. They'll stand at the fridge and eat stuff. It is very American, I think, to do that.
Apparently dramatically.
Dramatically, yeah.
All right, number 9. Why do Americans have so many school dances? Are they all real, or is that stuff just in movies like homecoming, prom, winter formal? Are they different? Do you have a dance for every season? What is going on?
That's great. I actually had this complaint a while ago because I was watching. I used to watch the Vampire Diaries, that CW show.
Oh yeah.
In Mystic Falls. Every friggin' episode was another dance. There was always some school dance or event. because they always had to be like trapped in the school with the vampires or whatever it was and the werewolves. And
But wait, was it all the same school year?
It was all in the same year. Like almost every other week, there was some school event,
that's
some
hilarious.
festival, or some dance or something. Now I gotta give it to you grant it because around those events is a great way to stage, action. Those are, people gathering together and things can happen. And so there's potential for action and conflict around those kinds of events. If it was just every regular day at school, it'd be boring, I guess.
Okay, so let's break down. I'll go first. At my high school, we had homecoming. We had a winter formal, usually like Sadie Hawkins in the winter early, like a Valentine's Day dance. We had prom that was usually junior, senior only. I'm trying to think. I feel like we had one more. Homecoming and prom were the big ones. And I feel like we had one or two more in there. So like 3 to 4. How many did you have?
That's about the same.
Okay. Did you have Sadie Hawkins, really?
Something like it, yeah. Winter formal. Homecoming, winter formal, and prom were definitely in there. Sometimes they throw a spring dance in someplace. But yeah, that's about it. When I was I think it was in junior high, we had more what they called sock hops, in high school too, actually. And these were not like formals. They were more just casual after the football game on Friday night kind of dances. And nobody dressed up. We just kind of went to the gym and we had a DJ and danced and had music. So we did those, maybe once a month even. So maybe it's true, but they weren't like huge planning committee decorations, get limos and tuxedos. It wasn't like that. It was just casual. Hey, we're going to hang out at the school and have fun.
Okay, so true story, in my middle school, they started introducing dances, not like you were saying, not formal, but just like, for the guys and girls to learn to mingle. And we had this guy called Dr. Disco.
Oh, great.
Who was our DJ, and it was like the most cringeworthy thing ever. It was just, nobody was dancing that night.
That sounds a lot like something you'd see in an American TV show. Yeah.
Right? No, that one really happened in real life.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, Dr. Disco. Okay. Why do Americans in TV shows say, I went to Europe this summer? Like, where in Europe? Like, why not just say which country?
Yeah. Because when Americans go to Europe, we want to get a lot in, I guess. It's kind of like when you come to, our guests from overseas come to the US, I guess they do say I went to the States or I went to the United States, but they usually say I went to California or I went to New York or Florida or whatever it is.
Not necessarily. I will walk you back on that one. I had a friend who was sitting next to, I think it was an Australian on her flight here back to the United States. And she was telling me, it was kind of funny because, again, just like we don't necessarily have a good concept of geography in other continents, people coming here also, it's the same thing. It's just you learn, what you know, and you might not know another country. That's fine. She was saying that she was flying back to Michigan, and she was saying that he was like, oh, I'm going to go to LA, and I'm going to go to Nashville, and I'm going to go to New York. And she's like, well, what about Canada? And he's like, oh, no, Canada's too far. She's like, Canada's an hour away. You're flying to Detroit, But again, because he was coming from a different place and didn't necessarily know the geography. So
yeah. I think it also has to do with Americans, like teens especially, will go on tours of Europe. So they'll travel all over, and maybe they're just kind of lumping it all together. I guess that's something we do say.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So number 11, do Americans actually love British accents as much as they do in the movies?
Oh, yes, we do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if it's going to be on this list, but there's that old saying that in American movies, the bad guy always has a British accent. That's the other part of it, I wonder if in Europe, if they give the bad guys
an American accent.
Yeah, I wonder. I don't know.
I think in general, we just love foreign accents.
Of course we do, because we all sound like a bunch of hillbillies. So, yes, everyone's attracted to something a little different, a little more,
unusual,
multicultural. Yeah. I hate to use the word exotic, but yeah. All right, number 12. Do Americans really call their best friend's parents Mr. and Mrs. like they do in the movies? Like, girl sleeps over at her bestie's 3 nights a week, and she still says, hey, Mrs. Williams, when her second mom walks in the house. That's such a long one. Yeah, we don't, I don't know. I guess I did. I still called my best friends parents Mr. and Mrs.
Same here. To me,
Yeah,
for us, it was a sign of respect.
it's respect.
Yeah.
There are some modern parents, I suppose, that are like, "Oh, just call me Bill," or whatever, that kind of thing.
Mhm. I
It
don't
kinda
yeah, I
goes
don't
back to the
know.
'50s too. I remember watching the old, TV shows with, like, Andy Griffith and, Leave It to Beaver, My Three Sons, when the friend would come over, it'd always be, "Hello, Mrs. Cleaver?"
I mean, I think it's not just a sign of respect, but also, um, kind of establishing authority as well. You know what I mean? Like, if you're calling them Carol and Ron, then they don't have as much authority as Mr. and Mrs. Jones or something like that. I mean, I'll admit, like, even married, sometimes I have to remember to call my husband's parents by their first name instead of Mr. and Mrs. I mean, because it's ingrained in you, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We're adults now, so it's a little different, but yeah,
Old habits die hard.
all habits die hard, yeah.
Number 13. My question is, do cheerleaders in high school let me see this. There's a couple things. All right, we'll do this again. Number 13. Are cheerleaders in high schools really like in the movies and TV shows? Are they the prettiest, most popular girls that everyone looks up to? Are they mean girls? Because that has always been such a cliche.
OMG, it says.
OMG. I think it really depends again on where you grew up and what people are like. Like in middle school, the cheerleaders were kind of like, the hot stuff. In high school, it was like, yeah, I guess so, but only if you paid attention and cared about that kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, it's a specific, cheerleading here is a sport. It's very competitive. So,
Yeah.
and like the Bring It On kind of series of movies, it's not unrealistic in some ways. I mean, obviously, it's overcompensated, over accentuated for the movies, but I think it's partially true. And I think in any high school, you're still going to have the clique thing, but I think it's less than it used to be. I mean, I haven't been in
Yeah.
high school for a long time, but the whole anti-bullying and inclusivity that have really been kind of growing in the younger generations, hopefully is that's not as much of a cliche and a trope that it used to be.
You know where I would argue that the cliche probably came up from is again, how big is your school? Because
Hmm.
if you're going to, like, a really small school of, like, 500 kids, then, like, everybody knows everybody. But, again, like I said, my school was 4,000 kids for high school, so, like, you could find a group. You didn't have to be, kowtowing to the popular kids, and popular meant different things to everybody in a school of 4,000.
Yeah, depending on the size of the school, you may or may not have certain activities you might want to do, like gymnastics or, I'm not even sure what else, what do they call it? Rhythmic dancing kind of, kind of stuff.
Mm.
Those kind of creative arts, some schools don't have programs for them, and cheerleading is kind of their only outlet for those kinds of, athletic, students. So sometimes you wind up doing that. I think that's how something happened in Buffy the Vampire Slayer like that. I don't plan to ever write a cheerleading movie. At least that's my goal.
Not your thing, huh?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Do Americans really have to do physical projects like make a paper volcano or a foam solar system to get graded on? Or is that just in the movies?
They're talking about the science fair
The
trope.
science fair trope, yes.
Did you have a science fair in your school? Because we
I
didn't.
didn't. I don't remember ever having a science fair.
We did not, yeah.
I never had to build a volcano. We might have done. I mean, I had chemistry class where we mixed stuff together and had stuff, gurgle and do the smoky stuff, but we never actually did that. We never had a science fair in my school.
You know what another thing is, and I don't know if this would be a quote unquote trope, but it's definitely something that I know they do in schools, and I never had to do it, is dissect anything.
Oh, I did. I did.
I somehow made it through my entire school career without dissecting a darn thing.
I did a frog and a fetal pig.
Really?
Yes.
Ugh.
Yes, fetal pigs are, I guess, surprisingly similar to humans in their anatomy. So that's why
Huh.
yes, Flash was the name of our pig. Yeah.
You named your pig. Oh my gosh.
Flash is a girl too. So.
Oh my gosh. Number 15. Why do Americans in TV and film just hang up without saying anything when they finished a call? Freaks.
Well, this is easy.
I
Yeah,
can
go
speak
ahead.
to this one. So, first of all, which we mentioned earlier, when Americans write our scripts, we get in, we get out, right? So you don't bother with the niceties of like, oh, hello, I'm looking for Joanne. Yes, this is Joanne. What is it? Oh, this is, Katie, I want to report a dead body. Like, we don't get into that. It's just right into it, right out. The other
Yes.
interesting thing is I actually have watched, my husband mentioned this because he's like, in Irish shows, they will say hi and they will say goodbye. And like, I've heard him on the phone. He will say goodbye forever. He'll be like, bye, 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 bye. It's just like this Irish thing. I have actually, when we were dating, I accidentally hung up on him because I thought he was done saying goodbye. And I was like, oh, he was in the middle of his fifth goodbye. Oops, But it's something that they do over there. And so they'll incorporate it in their scripts over, in at least Ireland. I don't know about maybe British TV too. They'll incorporate that hi and goodbye, whereas we don't because it's
No.
not relevant to the story. But it does make us look really mean.
To the chase. Yeah, we cut to the chase.
Yeah, it makes us look really mean.
I remember on the X-Files, David Duchovny's character, Fox Mulder, all he ever did when he answered the phone was Mulder. That's all he did. He just said Mulder. Never said hi or goodbye. They just hang up on each other, yeah.
Oh, Tom, I'm letting you take the next one.
Oh, do Americans really eat peanut butter and jam sandwiches, or is that just in the movies? Yes, we absolutely do that. It is something we do, and we do it a lot. Peanut butter and jelly, we call it sometimes. I guess you could call it jam too, but yeah, we eat that all the time. In fact, you can buy peanut butter and jelly in one jar. It's kind of pre-swirled, so you can just scoop it on. That's weird. But you got to make sure you do it right, because I actually just saw a show, and this little girl was making her peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and she didn't put enough jelly on the jelly side. You got to get that equation just right, otherwise it's too sticky with the peanut butter. So if you're gonna do peanut butter and jelly in your show or movie, make sure you do it right. Don't half jelly it.
It'll really bother Tom.
Yeah, I actually texted Roshni right as I was watching. I'm like, I can't believe they did this. It was so bad.
Oh, man. Do Americans actually eat bacon with their fingers, or is that just on films and telly? We do. We eat bacon.
Are there people that eat it with a fork and knife?
Well, I mean, I guess it depends, because like I know in other countries, bacon is actually kind of like ham-like. It's thicker.
Okay.
So there is that.
We like our bacon kind of crispy and crunchy, so you can kind of pick it up and crunch on it. So
Michael introduced me to this English sandwich called a bacon. I think it's called a bacon butty, and it's literally bread and butter and bacon. It's really good, but that's not eating.
Better be.
It's not eating bacon straight with your fingers. It's eating it in a sandwich.
Yes, and if anyone wants to know why Americans have heart attacks more than anybody else,
it's all the bacon.
All the bacon, yeah. Okay, do Americans actually do those project assignments like we see on TV shows and films, like the fake babies, getting married to each other, and all that? So that's like the parenting classes, I suppose. I didn't in my school.
Never had that.
I've seen it in a lot of shows, but the old trope of two people who hate each other have to be parents to a baby egg or something. Get it through the week without it breaking, that kind of thing.
I bet maybe back in the day they would have done something like that, or like when home ec was a big thing. We don't really have home ec classes anymore, which I think is a sad thing. But people hate group assignments. I would be really curious to know if they still make kids do group assignments, because you know how inevitably somebody wouldn't pull their weight. So it's probably why like this is an old trope, but like you wouldn't see it now because we hate group assignments.
Yeah, that's a trope of its own. There's the smart kid and the kid who's lazy, or the jock who's not going to do the work, and the other guy's like, I'll just do it all because I know you're going to be a pain in the ass to work with. So bye. Yeah, that's a trope. I don't know if that actually happens anymore.
19. Do Americans actually pledge allegiance to their flag in school, or does that only happen in films? It's true. We did it all the time. In middle school.
Yeah, we didn't do it in high school, I don't think. At some point we stopped doing it, but it's, and in parts of the country, it's like if you don't do it, you're like ostracized. Yeah, you don't want to be standing out for not doing it. Yeah.
I don't think you have time in high school. I think high school is too structured. Honestly.
It all depends on the school, but yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's some parts of the country where they're like, it's religion to them to do that every day.
Well, it was like a homeroom thing for us. And you
Mm-hmm.
don't have homeroom in high school.
Well, we did.
You did? Really?
Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, you learn
Depends
something
on
new
the
every day.
school.
Yeah, it's true. Oh.
Okay, number 20. Why do Americans in films always greet the person who walks groggily into the kitchen with, "How do you like your eggs?" when they're clearly already in the process of cooking the eggs and thus have decided for them? Well, that's weird. If you're making scrambled eggs, there are two options. There's wet and dry. So if you're in the middle of scrambling your eggs, you could stop now or keep cooking them longer. That's the only. Or if you have them sunny side up, currently they can technically be sunny side up or be flipped over and be done over easy. So I guess if you're in the middle of cooking the eggs, you do have an option. The second answer to that question is maybe they're cooking different batches of eggs. So they're cooking eggs for somebody right now who wants them this way, but I'll make eggs for you another way.
Or like they're making their own eggs. And
Yeah.
then, yeah, for the second person. And then the production answer would be because continuity. So that would, yeah.
Yeah.
Number 21. Do Americans really leave a key under a mat or rock like they do on TV and films?
Yeah.
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 I'm sure not in like New York City or something like that, but in suburbia, definitely.
Yeah. For sure.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay, that was easy. Moving on. 22. Why do Americans chew pills like they're sweets in films? I think that I think there's some characters that just do that. I don't think everybody does that. I think, and in fact, I just watched a show on Netflix, Queen's Gambit, where they were just swallowing the pills, and I was disturbed because they weren't drinking anything when they swallowed it. That was kind of,
Oh.
they were all just like forcing it down dry. I was like, oh gosh,
Oh,
that's horrible.
man. That's funny.
But I don't think Americans chew their pills.
Okay, true confession time. I actually
Yeah.
have trouble swallowing pills.
Okay.
So I will actually break open my pill and put it in applesauce, or I have chewed a pill on occasion.
Oh,
And
okay.
I know I'm not the only one. So,
Yeah.
but not like they're sweets.
Yeah.
Definitely drink a lot of water with it.
Well, nowadays, all you can get all your vitamins and pills in gummy form, so you are actually chewing them. I do have gummy vitamins and gummy probiotics, and then my vitamin C and my and something else I take are chewable, dry chewable. So we do it a lot, I guess, but not like drug pills that you have to swallow. Those are, I guess, it depends what the person's taking.
Hmm. 23. Do Americans actually eat pancakes for breakfast every day, or is that just me watching too many TV shows? Who has time to make pancakes every
Yeah,
day?
seriously, no, we don't eat pancakes every day. I would say someone's eating pancakes every day, but not the same person every day. I buy mine frozen, pre-made from Trader Joe's. So
I usually eat like oatmeal or yogurt or something quick. I eat something quick.
I eat cereal, I eat eggs, I eat a lot of different things. So definitely not just eating pancakes.
It takes
Pancakes are kind
time.
of like a treat, actually. They're kind of
It's
like,
yeah, it's like a Sunday brunch thing. It takes some
yeah,
time to make a pancake,
hmm
for
yeah. If you
sure.
come to Hollywood, go to the Griddle Cafe on Sunset. They make pancakes that are literally like over a foot in diameter, and they're ridiculous. So
Oh, actually, I've never even been there.
you can eat them for like 2 days. Yeah. Do Americans really go to summer camp, or is it just in films? Yes, we do. A lot of
Yeah.
summer camps. Yeah,
Yeah.
all over the place. I went to summer camp for I think 6 summers. Summer camp is how you get rid of your kids for the summer. It's not for the kids, it's for the parents.
Did you go to like the ones like in the actual woods and all that stuff?
Yeah, I went to summer camp in Maine.
Oh my
Up
gosh!
yeah, up on Pleasant Lake up in Casco, Maine. Yeah.
I went to space camp.
You did?
Oh,
Oh.
I loved it.
Huntsville, Alabama space camp?
Huntsville, Alabama.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, we definitely do that. So there's lots of great stories. I mean, I have great stories from camp. So I definitely see it as great fodder for film and TV.
Oh, it's fun. It's so much fun.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
grew up watching the classic Meatballs. That was the great summer camp movie when I was growing up. So
I don't think sleepaway camp is as prevalent as it used to be, though.
it's expensive and a lot of people can't afford it
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah. Usually now parents just send them for the day and then they sleep at home at night. Or if they go to a sleepaway camp, it's only for like a week or so. It's not for the
Yeah.
whole summer.
I went for like 8 weeks, 2 months.
That is a long time.
It was a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. 25. Do Americans really just dump money on the table and walk out instead of paying for their meals? Or is this another one of those American TV makes no sense things? Again, it just depends. Like, if you're in a rush and you know what the bill is and you're like, "Here, keep the change," then you can throw the money on the
Yeah,
table and go.
not so much anymore because we use credit cards so much now.
Well, yeah, with coronavirus, you can't do
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it's not dine and ditch like it used to be.
I think that trope just really came up as, like, a dramatic kind of thing.
Yeah, like, "Oh, here we go, here, just throw some money on the table."
We're in a rush, that sort of thing, or
Yeah, we've always
whatever.
talked about our pet peeve about groups going out to eat and then trying to divide up the bill, and someone's like, "Here's my money," and they get up
Oh.
and leave, and they haven't left enough money, and then, and
Oh,
you don't
yeah.
wanna be the last person at the table when that happens, because then you're always
Yeah.
making up the difference, like, "Oh, there's no tip, guys," like, ah. Of
Oh.
course, Americans tip, and a lot of other countries don't tip, so that's a big difference too.
Alright. Do Americans really refer to their dogs as pooch, or is that just a TV thing?
They call their dogs all kinds of things. Pooch is definitely one of them.
Pookie?
Pookie, I
Snookum?
mean, well, call their dogs by their names, but, Buddy.
I think the thing is more nicknames for your dog than, like, "This is my pooch."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay, do Americans really say "knock yourself out," or is it a TV thing? Yeah, all the
Yeah.
time. I say that all the time. It is a very real thing.
Yeah.
It is generally a little bit of a sarcastic remark, like, somebody's like, "I wanna go do this." I'm like, "Pfft, knock
Knock
yourself
yourself
out,"
out.
because
Yep.
that sounds really stupid to me.
Yep. Yeah. It's kind of the Southern equivalent of "bless your heart,"
Yeah, right.
which is definitely another American trope.
28. Wait, do Americans really care about the week their birthday is in? Yes.
Some even care what month. They'll celebrate
Some
it the
some
whole
have
month.
expanded to a whole month, yeah.
Yeah.
My birthday was recently, and, it kinda came and went in one day. I didn't really do a whole week for me. But people do make a big deal about their birthdays, so.
Yeah. I think it depends again who you are, how you grew up, and how much of an emphasis your family placed on it,
Mm,
you know? 29. Why do Americans in TV shows have bottles of water sitting in their fridge? I would guess for this one, it's a production thing. It's
mhm.
what's on hand and what you can stock the fridge with as a set dresser. That would be my
Yeah,
guess.
it depends on the character because, some fridges will be stocked with beer, depending on the character, if it's a, single male, kinda guy. But if it's someone who's supposed to be real healthy or, progressive or whatever, they might have lots of fancy water bottles. Yeah, and again, yeah, what do you gotta put something in the fridge to make it look like people actually live there, so the set dressers are like, "What do we got here? Throw some water bottles in." That can be ridiculous at times. All they drink is water.
And here, let me just speak a little bit more on this one as well. This is an interesting little thing. So, a grocery store opened up near where I live, and at least in America, the way I was taught to grocery shop is you meal plan, you shop for like 2 or 3 weeks, you stock up your fridge, and you've got meals for like close to a month, right? And my husband was so excited to have this grocery store nearby because, well, first of all, it was convenient, but also because, at least in Europe, they go out every day just to buy the food what they need for that day. So they don't have full fridges. They only get what they need for the day.
Ah,
So, depending on where this person is writing from, that could also be like, why is your fridge so fully stocked? Don't you go out every day to get the food? No, we
yeah.
don't. Most of us have to go to the supermarket once a couple weeks.
Mhm. Well, if you see the people coming out of Costco, they're, like, stocking up for, like, winter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Why do Americans on TV always have blenders inside their sinks? That I don't get.
I think they mean a garbage disposal.
Oh, you think so?
I think so.
Oh, I
I
thought they
think
meant,
that's
like,
what they mean.
set the blender in the sink. Maybe they do, I'm trying to think, like, like you've left the blender in the sink to wash it maybe, the pitcher part of it, but if
Maybe.
they're talking about disposals, that's just because 'cause we're wasteful and we have to grind up the food we don't eat, so it goes down the drain because we don't compost either.
Plus, it makes for a great device if, like, characters are mad at each other and they just turn on the disposal so they don't hear the other character,
Oh, yeah,
you
and then
know?
there's the horror movie cliche where it's like, "Oh, I dropped something in the disposal, now I have to reach down in there," and then the phantom or whatever flips on the electricity and your hand's gone.
That would just be my guess.
I get horribly antsy when I see, kitchen sinks in movies,
Oh,
horror movies,
man.
yeah, like, "Oh, no, don't go down the drain."
That's funny. Do Americans actually get excited about fireplaces, or is that just TV? I was excited about getting a fireplace in my place. I
I
don't
don't
know about
know,
you.
I'm not excited about fireplaces in general, I guess the question is, what is exciting about a fireplace? I mean, they can kind of be nice in the winter when it's cold, but we're in California, so it's not that cold.
Cozy and romantic. But you know what? Also, to be fair, again, it could possibly be so depending on where you live and, like maybe you're in an apartment like I am or whatever, a lot of fireplaces, I'd say maybe what I would go half and half, are electric. You flip on a switch and they're pretty much aesthetic only. Unlike in other places, for example, my husband's family, they have a fireplace, but what does it do? It's practical. It heats the whole house. So they have to bring in wood all the time. So
Mm,
I can see why you wouldn't get excited about a fireplace if you have to chop wood for it all the time, but for us, it's aesthetic mostly. So
yeah.
yeah, let's get excited.
I recall at least one or two movies where a bunch of kids go to some house in the woods or some they're staying at a mansion or something and they walk in, ooh, look, a fireplace. And I don't know. I guess that's kind of I think that's just bad writing, to be honest.
Nothing else to be excited about.
Hmm.
All right, number 32. Why do Americans on TV always eat meatloaf and what is it? I don't eat meatloaf. I think it's disgusting. But I think it's a very American kind of steak and potatoes kind of meal.
I mean, it's basically hamburger in a baked in a bread loaf pan. So it's basically like eating hamburger. It's not that much different from hamburger. I eat turkey meatloaf because I don't eat beef, but I like it a lot. It's yummy.
Do Americans drink milk with almost everything, or is that just in the shows? I don't.
I
Do
don't
you?
drink milk. I have almond milk with my cereal, but I don't drink milk anymore.
I think kids do. They kind of want kids to drink milk with a lot.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of like part of the dietary, recommendations, 'cause protein and vitamins and what have you. But in on TV shows, the trick with food is branding and stuff. So unless you have a product sponsor, product placement, you have to have them drink something. And kids drink milk at breakfast. I guess you're either drinking water or you're drinking some generic kind of off-brand fake soda
Mhm.
or pop, as we call it back in Ohio.
It might also depend on what kind of shows they're watching, because everything has a purpose, and, like, milk would be, like, wholesome family, that sort
Yeah,
of thing, so depending on what you're
yeah.
watching, maybe that's the feeling they're trying to convey.
Yeah, any show that has kids and sitting at a table eating a meal are going to have to be drinking something, and makes a good thing on TV because it's opaque and they can probably fake it pretty easily, so they don't have to worry about spoiling real milk.
34, do Americans really have detention in school? Yes, we do.
Hmm. We definitely have detention in school.
Yeah.
Yes,
Unless that's changed, 'cause both you and I have been out of school for a while, but
true.
we had it when I was in school.
I imagine that hasn't changed at all. So, is it like the Breakfast Club though?
No,
Nah,
not that
probably not.
fun.
No, usually it was after school. It wasn't on a weekend, and it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't that cool or fun. Because
But,
the vice principal doesn't want to be there on Saturday either.
I
So
was gonna say maybe detention in general kind of changed even after school because, yeah, the teachers don't really wanna be there, and I don't even think they get paid extra for sitting around watching
yeah,
the kids
that's
write an essay,
one of
you know?
those duties. Yeah, we actually had detention in the morning before school, so you'd have to get there early.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, and I think the one time I had detention, I missed the. Was going to take the earlier bus, the high school bus, to go to detention at the junior high, and I missed the early bus, so I wound up being late for my detention. And I got extra detention because of that.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Do Americans really dream about having their own reality TV show? Some do.
Uh, there's a lot of people on social media now that are turning those little bits and bytes into shows. It's happening. There seems like somebody every month or two is getting a show. Sarah Cooper on Instagram now is getting a show. She does pop political humor. I don't know who else, but yeah, it does seem like I don't know if everybody dreams about it though.
I think it's not necessarily reality TV, but, like, if you just say TV in general, like a talk show or, like a concept show, like Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, it's really easy to take an existing property that someone's already come up with a very good concept or proven that they know what they're doing, like, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, Rachel Bloom was discovered off of YouTube, or, what's that one? Dear White People. Now, I know these aren't reality shows, but that was discovered off of Twitter. I believe, I forget the name of the lady, but there was a recent comic who I think was discovered off of YouTube, and she got like a Lily Singh, and she got a talk show out of it. So people are getting discovered that way, but they're already proving that they can create the content, if that makes sense.
Oh,
So they're kind of
cool.
going off of like a proven entity, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. 36. Why do Americans in TV shows have really tall glasses but only fill them halfway?
I would say that this is actually a continuity thing.
Mm. If
Th-
it's always half full, then you don't have to worry about, was it 3/4 full or 1/4 full?
And if you notice when people are eating or drinking, watch them and see how much they actually eat or drink, or if they just sort of move the food around on their plate, or if they just sort of like hold the glass in their hand. I would and if think about it too, if they're in the middle of a scene and it's like because remember we come early and we
Come late, leave early.
yeah, so we come late, we leave early. I had it wrong. So you're already in the middle of dinner. So your glass would be half full because you've already
Yeah.
drank some of it.
hmm
So I would say for a continuity and kind of that feel of like we're already in the middle of the dinner, that's probably
hmm
why.
There you go. And last but not least, why do Americans in TV shows like trucks so much?
America,
America.
right there.
That's called advertising, is what that is. That's product placement. You know,
Yeah.
you got they done it. What is it? The GM does a ton of advertising in TV shows and movies. GM, Chrysler, Chevy, all of them. They love to get their big trucks on the shows. So
And it probably depends again on the type of show you're watching. Like if it's like Walker Texas Ranger or like so, you know what I'm saying, something really like set in like
yeah,
America kind of thing, they're going to have trucks.
Transformers was just a big commercial for Chevy, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah. So there you go. Those are all the crazy things Americans do that drive non-Americans crazy when they watch our movies and TV shows. That was fun. I'm glad we did this.
We hope it helps you get a little better understanding of how our weird minds work. Maybe.